He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the Highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1 to 4. Shabbat Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachah Kodash, and double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. There's the brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lo will be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I saw this article, and I just want to, attack it real quick. It's very interesting how we have all this stuff going on, which we reported on yesterday in the live that we did. All right, going into the how Jacob's trouble is on the horizon with all this LA riots and so on and so forth. All right, which those of us who are in the know, all right, we understand that this is all planned / orchestrated / controlled. Okay, this is all the creation, all right, of ultimately the international bankers. All right, because this is where they make their move, all right, to be justified in bringing in that totalitarian New World Order government. Okay, remember they've been saying that they needed to go on a Marshall-like footing. All right, Prince Charles, now King Charles. All right, I believe it was COP 26 or 27. That's when he made that statement. All right, that the nations got to come together and have that Marshall-like footing in regards to this push for the so-called New World Order. Okay, so we're seeing all these things since Trump came in with pretty much setting the stage, right, for a techno-political establishment. Okay, we're seeing that with all the partnerships that he's making, all the so-called deals, executive orders, right? The billions of dollars that he's investing in all these tech companies, right? It's showing you where this is all leading to. And now they've openly told the world that, hey, AI is going to take your jobs, and there's nothing you can do about it. So people are starting to feel the itch and then the squeeze, and that's a perfect opportunity for Esau to use that feeling, all right, to fuel the stage, right, the fire that they need, so they can come in with that order. All right, and this article here is, it has agent provocateur / controlled opposition written all over it. Okay, a manufactured chaotic situation, all right, is written all over it, man. All right, George Soros and them, all right, always in the background funding all these kind of chaotic atmospheres. Okay, but again, this is all biblical prophecy. This is all part of the uproars. Okay, it says nationwide day of defiance set to sweep across the United States on June 14th. Okay, which is the so-called parade where Trump is also going to be having his birthday being celebrated on that day. All right, it's a military parade. Okay, but the word, all right, that we're going to tackle real fast is, as it says, defiance. Okay, now what is defiance? Right, it says here, a challenge to fight, invitation to combat. Okay, so that's war. All right, challenge, declaration of war. There you go. Okay, so nationwide day of defiance set to sweep across the United States on June 14th. And these people always use words very, very carefully because words have meaning. Okay, words have meaning. And those words also carry with the vibration that they want to set. Okay, so the word defiance, let's bring that back. It says declaration of war. Okay, to renounce one's faith. All right. The very word goes back to Latin. The defines a dis, meaning away, and then fidus, going to the word faithful. Okay, so or to lose your trust or your confidence. All right, so to defy or to be in defiance, it means literally to go away from your faith. Okay, but in this case, it's being used in the terms of declaration of war. Okay, so nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, right? The Egyptian against the Egyptian. Okay, one people stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. This is all war talk. Okay, so let's read. It says, on June 14, 2025, a wave of protests under the banner, quote, "No Kings," end quote, is set to sweep across the United States, organized, right, as a direct response to a military parade planned by the Trump administration in Washington, D.C. That right there, all you need, that first sentence alone sets the tone that this is all orchestrated. It's organized, okay? Because remember, American people right now are not on the same page. They're too sensitive and they're too much of I guess the word would be, they're cowards, right? There's a whole bunch of cowardice, it's a cowardice population. That'd be the best way to say it, right? So they don't know what they're fighting for. So where are they going to fight? Who are they going to fight, right? They have no idea what the hell is going on. So this is all orchestrated, all right, by certain people who might have the means to do so, with ability to hire people, right? Hey, we'll pay you this amount of money. Come do this. Join us with this. Do this. We're doing a national protest on this day. A lot of people just go and join it because they have no idea. Oh, okay, there's a protest. Oh, cool. People are going. Let me go too. That's it, right? Or they hear about it. Oh, they saying that there's a national protest here. Oh, there's a lot of people. Oh, food, drinks. All right, let's go. It's like these people, bro. And I say food and drinks because as we read down in the article, you hear what kind of people they want to have at this protest. See, to show you that this is all a clown show, because a real protest is going to be with men, real men standing up and being like, "Yo, we're not with this." When you got women and children running around here, bro, this ain't no protest, bro. All right, nobody gonna take you serious. It says the date coincides with Flag Day, the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and President Donald Trump's. Wow, hold on. The date coincides with Flag Day, the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. Okay. All right, cool. And President Donald Trump's 79th birthday, amplifying the symbolic weight of the event. So it's crazy how the U.S. Army is actually older than the U.S. by a year, right? Because next year will be a U.S. 250th birthday, right? But the U.S. Army, they already having their birthday this year. Interesting, right? It says, organizers describe these protests as a, quote, nationwide day of defiance. See? So it's a nationwide day of declaration of war, aiming to reject what they perceive as authoritarian tendencies and reaffirm democratic values, right? Like reaffirm, like they ever had any democratic values. You done lost that a long, long time ago. A lot of these people even going to be in a protest. They don't even know, all right, what the hell they should even be protesting. They don't know what the hell is going on. All right. If you weren't born at least prior to 1912, 1913, when America changed and became owned by the Federal Reserve Bank and the Rothschild banks, if you weren't born prior to that time and you don't have any knowledge like the apostles have been teaching us, then you have no idea what the hell is actually going on in America right now. Okay, you have no clue as to who owns America, right? So all these protests are for nothing. All right, you don't even know what you're protesting, who you're protesting. All right, and that's why even the apostles even made reference to that at the last Saturday camp. All right, that over the years you've had many different insiders who've came out and said they've spoken the truth about America and what it is. Who owns America? The federal banks and so on and so forth, the central banks, right? But if Americans really knew what had happened, what kind of betrayal their presidents have had on them and all these different things, they would have stormed the streets and marched all the way to DC. Okay? They will not be protesting over Trump doing all this party shit. That's not even a reason to protest, bro. It doesn't matter. All right? It's just a setup once again, like I said. Okay? It says the No Kings movement, spearheaded by pro-democracy groups, see, that's all orchestrated, man, such as Indivisible, who came up with that, 50/50 Stand Up America, and others, is a reaction to a large-scale military parade scheduled in the nation's capital. A reaction. The true action is in the reaction, right? It says, according to reports, the parade will feature approximately 6,600, of course, soldiers, 150 military vehicles, 50 helicopters, fireworks, and performances by the Army's Golden Knights parachute team, with an estimated cost of up to $45 million. Just think about that. Critics argue that the event, which Trump has publicly tied to both Flag Day and his birthday, serves as a self-aggrandizing display of power rather than a declaration rather than a celebration of national pride or military heritage. Right? Hey, you know what? Let's get this real quick. Let's see. There's the book of let me see. There's the book of Isaiah chapter 24 verse 11. It says, there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Okay. Now, when you go into the word mirth, right? Pull it up here. All right. It's supposed to represent, or it should be an expression of happiness, right? Mirth, go into the word mirth. It says joy, pleasure, eternal bliss, salvation. Okay. It says, let me see. Is there any more? Right. It goes into the concept of being merry, right? Mirth goes into the concept of being merry, right? So they're here saying, this is what they're saying. It says, critics argue that the event, which Trump has publicly tied to both Flag Day and his birthday, serves as a self-aggrandizing display of power rather than a celebration of national pride or military heritage. National pride represents what? Happiness. That's what pride is. Happy. That's what they represent. Pride represents the gay people and shit, right? So the LGBT no IQ. So the military and military heritage, that also represents what? A sense of security, a sense of power, a sense of pride, right? So the Americans, in their mind, they're like, yo, we should be celebrating America, not you, right? Why are you setting yourself up to be like this God, this king? Like, what's going on here? And they're using this as a means, like I said, to drive that narrative, to spark the outrage. That's all they're doing. Okay? Ezra Levine, interesting, right? Sounds very much like a J, but co-founder of Indivisible, emphasized the movement's message in an interview with Newsweek, stating he is, quote, he is planning to roll tanks through the streets of DC in celebration of his birthday, and that's the kind of thing you normally wouldn't see in a constitutional republic, certainly not America, right? So he's, in other words, he's letting you know that America is no longer a constitutional republic. It's just that way on the surface level. Okay, but behind the scenes, it's not. It never was. It never will be. All right. It says it's something you would see in North Korea or other authoritarian regimes. Well, again, that's just how America is, but they're going to put it out in the forefront very soon. North America and them, they already have it in the forefront. They don't have to do anything in the background. America, they do those kind of things. They operate like North Korea, but it's in the background. Okay, and very soon you see. All right, you see when the new totalitarians take over. All right, it says organizers assert that the protests are not merely a response to the parade, but a broader stand against policies they view as undermining democratic principles, including cuts to social programs and perceived attacks on civil rights. The quote No King protests are expected to draw millions of participants across more than 1,550 events in all 50 states. Wow. As well as in locations like the Virgin Islands, Canada, Italy, and London. This is definitely orchestrated, all right? Ain't no way you can get these many people all at the same time, all through 50 states to agree to this. What's this? It says, notably, no protests are planned in Washington, D.C. itself. Levine explained this strategic choice, noting that the movement aims to avoid giving the administration an excuse to crack down on peaceful demonstrators or frame them as anti-military. Well, that's not the case, because you have agent provocateurs that are going to set things up, okay? Spark things up, and that's going to be all they need, okay? It says, instead, the protests will focus on creating an, quote, alternative narrative, end quote, nationwide, emphasizing grassroots resistance in cities, towns, and communities. Man, the city shall be troubled and men shall be afraid. All right, these type of things is what leads to that. It says in California, demonstrations are planned in cities like Sacramento, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Fresno, with events ranging from rallies at courthouses to gatherings in community parks. And it's about to get hot. It says over 30 protests are scheduled in New Jersey, including in Newton, Montclair, Morristown, and Princetown. To avoid conflicting with another local event, a rally will take place at Heinz Plaza from 3:30 to 5 p.m. Man, these people here. It's just crazy. It says other notable locations include New York City's Bryant Park, Philadelphia's Love Park, and Seattle's University of Washington campus. Wow. Organizers are encouraging participants, you hear that, to attend peacefully with family and friends. It's interesting because it looks like I think I was watching something on the news thing, and they were calling the protest fairly peaceful. You know what I'm saying? They use the word peaceful, right? And in the background, they show you people having cars lit on fire, people stand on top of cars, waving flags, throwing rocks and cracking windows and looting stores and setting things on fire and so on and so forth, right? Cops shooting at you with rubber bullets and people bleeding, and they got all these things going on, but then they called it a peaceful protest. Fairly peaceful, right? So here we go again with the word peaceful. Meanwhile, it's all chaotic, but they say organizers are encouraging participants to attend peacefully with family and friends, right? Family and friends sounds very effeminate, all right? Whenever you think of family and friends, you think of a whole bunch of women, all right? Women and aunties and mothers and sisters and cousins and nephews and shit like that, you know? Emphasizing nonviolent action as a core principle. The movement's website, I guess it's a movement already. Again, this is all funded. Ain't no way you could pick all this up, all of it. It has to marinate a little bit, right? Remember, not everyone is affected by this all at the same time. Yeah, they got the ICE raids, everything going on, but that's just a kicker. Most people still have lives. They're still working. A lot of people are still living regular lives like ain't shit going on. So for this to be all organized just like that at the same time like that is definitely interesting. All right. Orchestrated chaos. It says the movement's website, nokings.org, provides a map of events and resources for those looking to join or organize their own demonstrations. You hear that? This is crazy. They already have a nokings.org. They already have a website. And you can't see that this is all planned. This is all done by design. It says from city blocks to small towns, from courthouse steps to community parks, we are taking action to reject authoritarianism and show the world what democracy really looks like, the website states. And democracy simply means mob rule. Okay? Mob rule. Demo mean people or mob, and krasi means rule. Okay, so mob rule, they rule through the mob. They can use the mob to topple governments, all right, religions, all kinds of different things. It's all orchestrated. Okay? It's all done by these elites, man. All right? And there's a quote. I'm going to get that real quick. It says, the international bankers have historically been responsible for crisis after crisis and have invariably had their men waiting in the wings with the solution for the problem they created. Okay? So both sides are being funded, like we always say. All right? And Trump knows exactly what he's doing because he's being told what to do. Okay? You're not going to have, what's this guy, the Secretary of Commerce? What's his name? Is it Howard Lutnick? I think that's his name, right? You can't have him in the background, he's a J, by the way, directly. You can't have him in the background, all right? Kind of like Mandel House with what's this guy's name? Woodrow Wilson. All right, Colonel Mandel House and Woodrow Wilson. It's kind of like the same thing going on with Trump and Lutnick. Okay, so he's in the background, and he's controlling things, giving him the script. This is what you got to do. Make sure you do this. Say this. All right. Make sure you have this go. Okay, good. All right, sign that in order. Okay, we got this going on. How do we deal with this? Yeah. All right, sign this. I got this going. So Trump is just doing anything he's being told to do. Like the Apostle Tar always says, all right, that Trump is just he's a welfare case, like he says, right? He's like a manager at McDonald's, right? He's just a puppet, and he's just doing what he's told to do. All right, and he can't refuse. You know what I'm saying? This is all a stage, man. It's all a game. All right, both sides. It's all playing the people. All right. But I just wanted to bring this out, just a heads up. All right, we're gonna see what's gonna happen on this day, all right, June 14th, which I believe is next week. What day is that? Next week, it's like, oh shit, it's this coming Saturday. Salakia. It's this coming Saturday, right? So it's very interesting, right? So we'll see. We're gonna be out there on Saturday teaching, but we'll see how things play out. Lord willing, the fire really rises. All right, we're gonna see. All right. But anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Until next time, Shalom.